Hello everyone, Adam Prime back again, and this week I'm finally not doing a retread movie. The first new movie in the Blazing Toku Moviethon this year. Well, at least one I haven't seen, because this is far no way new, because Mega Monster Battle Ultra Galaxy the movie released in 2009. Which is now over 11, 12 years ago now? No, 11. I'm just an idiot. And it's a movie I've really wanted to watch for a long time, mostly because it introduced both Ultraman Zero and Ultraman Belial to the Ultra franchise. It was their first appearance, and I've always wanted to watch these, and I could personally never find it. I found out later it's probably been on YouTube this whole time. So, whatever. I watched it on this new Blu-ray release, which is a really easy way to get it. And I'm going to start off with, I got a little bit of a bias because I really like Belial. He's my favorite. So, since I've gotten into the Ultraman franchise, after I saw Belial, I really dug the look. But I'm going to get into that more in the characters. But before we get to that, I want to talk about how this movie is. Because I had a fun time with this movie. I really did. I think so far, even though I'm only 3 movies deep this year, this is one of my favorites I've watched this year. It just was a fun time. And it really just made me have to think, what did people back in 2009 think about this movie? Because there are certain things, when you watch a movie that's so ingrained now with these characters, both Zero and Belial, being introduced in this movie, how people back then thought of it. And some of those I will get into later, but let's start with pretty much this movie is Ultraman Belial comes in and just takes over, literally slaps around every Ultra, and it's amazing. It's not that deep of a movie. There's not a lot for me to really explain in it, like a detailed thing where it's literally just Ultraman Belial breaks out of his space prison, or somebody breaks him out of his space prison. Belial goes down to the Land of Light, takes the plasma spark, and the Land of Light freezes over, leaving the few Ultras left to try to save the Land of Light. That also brings us into the show Mega Monster Battle. And obviously, if you've watched Mega Monster Battle, you know of Ray, aka Raymond, or Raymond. I'm just gonna call him Raymond. And he's also what they call a Rayonix, a man who can control monsters, which I guess we also find out in this movie that Belial is technically also a Rayonix because he made a deal with the Ray Blood and fused with them. And pretty much throughout this movie they keep saying, oh, should we summon him? Him. And you want to know who him is? It's none other than Ultraman Zero. And he really just kind of shows up halfway through the movie. You'd think because this is his big debut, they have him on the cover, he's right there, you'd think he'd be in most of this movie trying to learn things. No, it's like you see him training for most of it, and you see all the other characters, which is fine. All the other characters were fine. The opening scene to this movie was awesome. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, but pretty much, eventually, they get Ray, they go try to stop Belial, who's at the monster graveyard. 7, Ultraman, and Mebius are the last 3 Ultras that can still go out and fight. And it was pretty cool. I think it was neat to see. At first you had all these Ultras, and then pretty much once Belial pretty much did his victory run, he took out all of them. Except for Leo and Astra and King, they weren't on World, but whatever. And pretty much, eventually, 7 calls for Zero, and that's pretty much where the go home for the movie is. He sends his head boomerang. Zero learns his lesson of why he was exiled off the Land of Light, and comes in. It just, stops Belial. It was a pretty awesome ending scene. But that's all I have to say. It was pretty awesome. And overall, this movie, I would say, had a lot of good things going for it. It gave you more of the history of the Land of Light, and I thought that was awesome, because I feel like we always hear little tidbits, but like this actually showed like the Ultras before they were Ultras, and that was really cool, and how their plasma spark works, and all of that, and also giving you the backstory to these characters, like Belial. You get to see this guy. It's great. But to get into more detail, I'm going to want to talk about the intro first, because the intro, the first 20 minutes of this movie or so was awesome. Because it was just in the Land of Light, Belial taking out all these dudes. You know what? For the first time ever, I'm going to show a clip. Roll it.
I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. Time to feel good. Boom. Time to feel good. Boom. Wow!
Hey, wait a minute. That's not how I remember it. Hey, Belrock!
Nah, man, that's totally the right clip.
Are you sure? I don't remember it being that slappy.
Come on, man. I'd never lie to you.
Well, that was weird. So, moving on. That was pretty much a pretty sweet scene that you see him take down pretty much most of the Ultras on the Land of Light. It was awesome. It just brought Belial this presence of, like, he was trapped into that cube prison for a reason. And it just gave him this power, this presence to him. And it was like, oh, wow. Not even, like, the father of Ultra could take him. And it was also really cool to see Mother of Ultra actually come in and, like, do some kicks and actually kick Belial in the head. That was awesome. It's cool to see Taro and Taro go one-on-one. And then the movie just kind of keeps going and everything. Like, this movie just feels so quickly paced. Like, it was pretty sweet. It's only like an hour 30 minutes, but it was a fun time. It was really fun to watch and experience. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting either, which I think I enjoyed, because I had my expectations. I'm not going to say, like, oh, I set my expectations too high and it didn't reach it. It reached my expectations. Those first 21 minutes sold me. I was like, I don't even care what the rest of this movie is, because that was awesome. And I really liked it. But it also had surprise appearances, and you're probably saying, well, if you looked at the box, you'd probably know he was in it. It had a surprise appearance of Dinah. I really like Dinah. Dinah was just like, what? I was like, oh man, Asuka's in this? I didn't know. I was so happy to see him. Like, I knew immediately. I just saw his jacket. I didn't even see, like, the full thing of his jacket. I was like, oh my god, it's him. I got so excited. And it did not disappoint. I liked all the Ultras in there. I love seeing the original actors for Shin Hayata and Dan Moriboshi. Those were awesome to see them there also. Obviously, Rei and a lot of the Pendragon crew were there from Mega Monster Battle. That was awesome. And I like that Leo and Astra were just off-world training Zero, and, like, it's like, did they know any of that was happening until Seven threw his eye slugger across the universe to tell them? Like, where they're just like, oh, I guess we should have probably been doing something. And Belial versus Zero's final scenes, like, when you see them finally get into a fight, was pretty awesome. You know what? I got another clip. let's do another clip. Yeah, let's do it.
Your reign of tyranny ends today, Belial. Not today. Oh, my color timer! Ah! And on that day, Belial won the universe.
Huh. That wasn't quite what I remember from the movie either. Huh. Should really think about what I let Belrock do. Well, what are you gonna do? Alright, moving on to characters. And there's not a lot for me to really talk about. There's Zero and Belial, because those are the guys introduced. It's like, I'm not going to talk about Ray/Raymond, because he had his whole show. I'm about to say, I watched the whole show before the movie, but I don't feel like explaining his whole character. A lot of the characters in this are characters who have appeared before. I don't even know, I've never seen Mebius. I want to watch Mebius, I just haven't watched it yet. So I can't tell you anything about him. It's like, what am I going to say about Ultraman and Ultra 7? It's like, what do you want me to say? Same with Ultraman Leo. There's not a lot. It's like, me saying there's not a lot to say is just because this is a movie celebrating the franchise and bringing in new villains and heroes. So, I guess to start with Ultraman Zero, it's just like, he's pretty much, if you've watched Geet or anything, it's just like him, but like, even more, I would say, like, more cocky and more full of himself. Like, he's just, like, he's there to steal the show and he's ready for it. He's brash, he's ready to go in. And they pretty much set up that he and Belial are very similar because both were attempting to take the plasma spark. And then, you know, his dad not threw him in jail, but pretty much helped banish him. Which, that was weird in this movie, because, spoiler alert, which I'm realizing I probably should have put way earlier, whatever, he didn't know he was his son? And since I've been into the parts of the Ultra franchise, like, so much later, and I knew he was, like, Seven's son. So it was weird when they revealed they're like, Ultra 7's your dad, and it was just like, what? It's just like, I was also surprised because I was like, wait, you didn't know? Wait, what? It was just one of those things that threw me off. I wasn't expecting him not to know. It's like, it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, Zero? That's Seven's son. So, me watching him first appear and him not know was weird. And like, that's pretty much all there is to say, because, like I said, he was training for most of it, and he learned his thing, and went to fight Belial, won the day. And Belial, man, I love Belial. He's just so fun. He feels so powerful, and he just doesn't care. There's just one point where it's like, he was just sitting on there while he was waiting for like, the Ultras to finally be dealt with by his monster army. And it looks like he should have been eating popcorn. He's great. I love him as an evil Ultra. He just doesn't care, it feels sometimes. Maybe a little bit over cocky. But I'd say that's pretty much, he is a fallen Ultra. He thought he wanted to be more powerful, so he touched the plasma spark and couldn't handle it. Then they're like, well, you can't stay here. Get out! And later, after he was banished, he met with Alien Ray Blood. They fused together, and the handsome boy we know today is here. And he pretty much gets his legion of armies, attacks the old Land of Light the first time. King is like, okay, banishing you was a bad idea. I'm going to lock you up in a space cube, and that's where you'll stay until somebody breaks you out. Which they did at the beginning of this movie. So, that's pretty much it for the characters. Like I said, all the other ones had shows. It's like, what am I going to tell you about Dinah? He's a cool guy? Because hell yeah, he is. But, yeah. As for the suits, like I said, they're all the other designs. It's like, I already said I like Belial's design, come on. does none of what I'm showing here show you I don't like Belial's design. Zero's design is also one I really do like. It's really cool. I love the double sluggers, and he's just a really neat design. I there's nothing else for me to say either. It's like I love the blue and red that he has. That's really sweet, like the chainmail like looks. But yeah, that's the suits. Wait, except for the final monster thing that was like an amalgamation of all the monsters. That was both gross and really cool. Like, I did not expect that to happen. Like, just, like, lifting up, and it's just made out of all the monsters, and you could see the monster's arms just be like, oh! And I'm like, whoa. That was something I wasn't expecting, but that's cool. So to finish up my thoughts, I really recommend this movie. No matter what part of the avenue you're on, whether you're an Ultra fan and you haven't watched it, or a Toku fan who doesn't watch a lot of Ultraman, or if you don't watch anything related, if you want to get into Ultraman, I think this is a good movie to start with. I really enjoyed this movie. Had a lot of surprises, a lot of characters, and you just get to have a fun time. It's like, I think this movie's pretty fast-paced, and I think anyone really can enjoy it. It's fun action, fun adventures. It's really fun. Again, like I said, the first 20 minutes alone sold me on this movie. And since next week is gonna be near Ultraman Day, I'm gonna keep this Ultra Trainer rolling, and we're gonna be doing Revenge of Belial. And, which it being the sequel, well, kind of sequel. It's the Return of Belial, I guess, after what happened to him in this. And I've already watched that movie, but I've never talked about it. I haven't watched it in like 5 or 6 years. And it's kind of funny when you think about it. I've watched the sequel before I watched the first one. But whatever, it was fine. I still enjoyed it back then, so I imagine maybe I'll like it more now. Who knows how I'll change. But how about you put your ideas or your thoughts of Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Galaxy, the movie, thoughts in the comments. Let's get talking about these, because I don't know, what are other people's thoughts on this movie? Did you find it weird that Seven didn't know that... Not Seven. That Zero didn't know that Seven was his dad? Or were you back then and you actually watched it back in the day and you were just like, oh yeah, I was kind of surprised. Because that was kind of a surprising thing. I don't know. Like I said, there's so much of like my current knowledge of knowing stuff that happens so much later that I was just like, oh yeah, this, and then was surprised of other things because I was like, really? But either way, Revenge of Belial's gonna be next week, so that's gonna be fun. I've been really enjoying Ultra. Z really awakened my interest in Ultra. I've been watching a lot, so expect probably more Ultraman movies because that's just what I'm in the mood to watch, so unless you guys have other suggestions, again, down in the comments. So, I guess I'll get going, but I guess let's see. Hey, Bellarock!
What?
I just wanted to see if you had any final thoughts.
No!
I might regret adding him into this, but guess we'll see how this goes. But until next weekend, where we'll be seeing the Revenge of Belial,